Good evening once again. Thank you all for registering and attending this 1 week national level online faculty development program on Indian knowledge systems, IKS, organized by the UGC-Malaviya Mission Teacher Training Center, UGC-MMTC, Gauhati University, and the Internal Quality Assurance Cell of Gauhati University, Gauhati, Assam, in association with IPSR Solutions Limited. Today, we would like to welcome Dr. Bharat Dash, a resource person, acting dean, faculty of Eastern Knowledge Systems at Sri Sri University. And we would like to welcome all the FDP resource persons, managers, directors, principals, vice principals, representatives from management, HODs, IKS coordinators, and all the faculty members. Now, about this FDP, this is a 1 week FDP program with live sessions from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. This is actually our second day of the FDP. We expect you to be present on all the days. The fee for LMS access and processing of certificate is ₹500, which you can pay online to the account details that I've shared in the chat. And you need to share the transaction details through WhatsApp to the number that was shared in the chat. Now, all the participants who have made the payment will receive the LMS access, the video recording for all the days, and the provision to download your FTP completion certificate. The procedure for receiving the certificate will be informed to you towards the end of the FTP. If you are unable to attend any of the live sessions, the recording will be available in the LMS. Now, we have shared the LMS access details through email to those who have shared the payment proof through WhatsApp till yesterday. Those who have shared the details today will receive the LMS access detail mail later in the day or by tomorrow. Okay. If you have trouble in attending the WebEx online session, this session is also available on our YouTube live link. I will put that in the chat now. All right, you can join through the YouTube live link as well. Now, my name is Sujin Jacob George. I'm working as Global Relations Manager at IPSR Solutions Limited, and I will be the event moderator. Now, before we go on to today's session, if you could please turn on your videos, we would like to take some screenshots for our documentation purpose. All right, you can turn off your videos. We will move on to the FTP session for today. The topic of which is the Panchatantra, understanding storytelling in IKS. This is going to be delivered by Dr. Bharat Dash, resource person, acting dean, faculty of Eastern Knowledge Systems at Sri Sri University. Now, Dr. Bharat Dash is a management educator and trainer known for integrating Panchatantra-based storytelling into leadership and self-development training. He has delivered over 350 programs across diverse sectors and serves as a master trainer with the Indian Knowledge Systems, IKS, Division, Ministry of Education. He is actively involved in faculty development through the UGC-Malaviya Mission Teaching Training Program and has worked with leading universities including IIT Patna and Osmania University. Currently, he is the acting dean of the Faculty of Eastern Knowledge Systems at Sri Sri University with expertise in design thinking, innovation, and communication. Over to you, sir. You are currently on mute.
Good evening, sir. Let me confirm if my voice is audible.
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay, sir. I'll just check if I can go on. Okay, my laptop is still under reboot mode. Some updates happening. I've joined from the tab. Okay, so thank you, sir. Thank you, Sujin sir, for the introduction, and thank you, Marin Institute University of Guwahati, for inviting me. Uh, let's see if I can share. Let me start without the slide first, and if required, going ahead, we will use the slide if at all required, because kind of it's paradoxical to use the slide when you're talking about Panchatantra and when you're talking about storytelling as a medium to share knowledge. So once again, good evening to everyone. I hope we have heard about Panchatantra, and to start with, it would be good if we can have some kind of interaction, either by unmuting ourselves whenever it's required and sharing a question or sharing a thought, or by putting it in the chat box, or in case we can use the easier way also, we can share the emojis, just so that the communication happens from both the sides. So now let's try to understand Panchatantra first, or rather let's try to understand what we know about Panchatantra and what we don't know about Panchatantra, and then from that let's try to dive deeper into the storytelling ability or the storytelling ways which exist in Panchatantra and in Indian knowledge system in general. To start with, if everybody has joined, and I assume that we are already 5 minutes into the session or 10 minutes into the session, so everybody must have joined. Let's begin with a small story. If everybody is fine, if you can hear me, I need your attention for the next 15 minutes at least, so that we can hear an interesting story. All good? We can start with the story. Can I have a thumbs up or a yes or a no? Yeah. Great. Okay. Listen to the story. Thank you. Yes, it's okay, okay. So is it Hitopadesh? It's similar to Hitopadesh, but it's not Hitopadesh, not exactly equal to Hitopadesh, Bhageshri ji. Okay. So let's first hear the story, then talk about Panchatantra. Let's get a taste of Panchatantra. Okay. I'll take two different stories from two different sections of the Panchatantra and see how they can talk about something which is at one side very philosophical, and the other thing at which is at which with at one side is absolutely practical. Okay, let's take this. So first story, a very interesting story, one of my favorites from the Panchatantra. Once upon a time there was a weaver. Okay, weaver, the one who used to weave clothes from fine fabrics, very fine fabrics. He was a special kind of a weaver, one who used to believe truly in quality over quantity. He used to make sure that he had the best quality silk or cotton available with him. And he used to do the kind of weaving or the kind of meticulous work that none in that city used to do. He had some magic in his hands, some uh, deep understanding of design, of art, everything. However, the problem was much of the people or majority of the people living in the city were not interested to buy it because it was a bit costly for them and it was too good for them to be used in regular usage. So they used to buy the normal textiles, the normal cotton, coarse fabrics, not very expensive. So this fellow, although he was such a skillful and such a great artist or artisan in his own sense, he was not able to get the kind of return which he deserved. Somehow he was just managing to feed his family and keep them alive. His wife was not very happy with it. His family members were not doing great. He himself was not very happy with what he was providing to the family members. So he got fed up with this. He came to a conclusion that this city itself does not have the kind of matured market or the kind of market which is required to buy my kind of work. So he talks to his wife and says that I have come to the conclusion that I cannot have a future over here. So what I will do is I'll move to some other city and where my work would be appreciated, would be valued, and I can earn the kind of return which I deserve. His wife, though she was not very happy with the economic or financial conditions, still she insisted that her husband stays back. She says, no, 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 I don't agree with you. Why don't you also start making fabric like other weavers, like other common weavers, normal weavers, course material? So whatever is required in this market, why don't you manufacture that? Why don't you sell that? What is the need of going to another country or another city when there is an opportunity if you change your product or change your offering and make a bit of compromise on that? She was not happy to hear this. He said, no, 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 you didn't say the right thing. Only because there is a immature market that exists here, you are telling me to give up my work, my skills. I will not do that. Better I go somewhere else. Give me just few years. I'm sure in few years I'll be able to earn enough that we can take care of our family for our entire lifetime. So he was able to convince his wife, though she was not very eager with the plan. And this fellow, this weaver, whose name was Somalika, okay, whose name was Somalika, he says, okay, now I will go to another city. So he decides to move from the eastern part of India to the western part of India and figures out a very, what do you call, very developed and very rich, prosperous city in the western coast or on the western coast. He goes there and then he realizes this can be the market which I was looking for. Over there, he starts doing a lot of hard work, a lot of hard work. And he starts weaving very fine quality silk and cotton uh, garments. And as he was expecting, as he was or rather, hoping, there was a good demand for his work. He started earning wealth. After 3 years of rigorous hard work, he was able to earn 300 gold coins. 300 gold coins, even during those days, were good enough for an entire generation to live happily. So he decides, I have proven my point. This gold coin or this return is enough for my family. Let me go back to my family and serve them. So he puts all the 300 gold coin in a pouch and hangs it or kind of ties a knot around his waist in his dhoti, and he starts walking towards his village, which was on the other side. It would take 7 days, 8 days of travel to reach. So after 2 or 3 days of travel, one day he was passing through a very secluded area, and it was afternoon. The sun was at peak. He decides to take shelter or to take rest under a tree for some time and have his lunch. So he sits there, he finishes his lunch, and then plans to take a nap. And he just goes for a quick, what do you call, nap or siesta. In that dream, when he was taking that nap, in his dream, he saw two different type of people. They didn't look like humans. There was something different about them, some different aura about them, different type of faces, voices, and they were talking to each other in his dream. The two of them were named, listen to the words, were named Bhagya and Karma. Okay, Bhagya and Karma, destiny and effort. If I can translate in English, okay, Bhagya and Karma, they have a different meaning when we use Sanskrit or when we use Hindi or Indian languages. But let me make an attempt to translate it into English. Destiny and effort, Bhagya and Karma. So these were the two different looking or weird looking personalities in his dream, speaking or talking to each other. Bhagya tells karma. Bhagya tells karma. Why did you give Somalika so many gold coins? You know that in his destiny it is not written that he will enjoy this wealth. Again, Bhagya tells effort or does karma. Why did you give Somalika so much of gold coin? His faith is different. He is not supposed to enjoy this wealth. Then effort or karma tells Bhagya, then listen carefully. Well, my job is to give a person according to his or her efforts. So Malika made the efforts. So I gave him what was meant for him. Whether he is going to enjoy this, इसका भोग कर पाएगा is the शब्द is a very beautiful शब्द. इसका भोग कर पाएगा, whether he can enjoy it, consume it, that's up to you. You decide that. I did my job of giving him what his efforts deserve. And suddenly, after listening to this dialogue, Somalika gets up. He's like all sweating from his head to toe, and there's absolutely no one around him. There is palpitation in his heart. He sips a glass of water that he was carrying, and then he looks at the pouch which was containing all the gold coin. He takes that pouch out, opens it, and to his shock and disbelief, there was no gold coin inside it. Not a single gold coin was there. All the 30, all the 300 gold coin vanished. And he was shocked. He said, "Oh my God, what to do now? All my hard work of 3 years has gone. How am I going to return to my village without this income? They must be waiting for me. They must be expecting something from me. I cannot show my face to my wife or to my children. I cannot go empty handed to my village. I will have to go back and earn again all of it." So he takes a pledge that I will not return, and I will, unless I earn enough money, and I will do twice or thrice the amount of hard work that I have done during the last 3 years. So he goes back to the same place, same city in the western coast. He works 3 shifts a day, barely sleeps for a couple of hours, and hard work after hard work, day in, day out. After so much of hard work, he was able to earn 500 gold coins in just 1 year. Earlier, he had earned 300 gold coins in 3 years, but this time, because of his extra effort, extra dedication, he was able to earn 500 gold coin in 1 year. He decides, now it's time. I can happily take this gold coin and go back home. But this time, on his way back, he is not sleeping. He is not stopping. He says that no matter what happens, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to fall asleep under any tree. He remembers what happened last time. So he keeps walking, he keeps walking. Again, during the second or the third day, while he was walking and going past a very secluded place, he hears two sounds or two people talking to each other at his back. He's so afraid, he's so terrified that he's not even looking back to see who they are. But the two voices are talking to each other. Who are they? Bhagya and Karma. Bhagya again talks to Karma and says, "Hey Karma, why did you give Somalika so much of gold coin? You know he doesn't have this in his destiny. Why did you give him?" Karma tells Bhagya in return the same dialogue. He says, "Sorry, boss. My job is to give people what their efforts deserve. Somalika has done a lot of effort, so I have to pay him back. What he is going to do with this 500 gold coins is all up to you, is all up to his faith, and that's you, my brother. You decide. Your call. I did my job. I follow my principles." And the moment again Somalika hears this conversation, he stopped. He's stunned. He looks back, and both of them vanish. There is no single person standing behind him. And as a matter of instinctive gesture, he places his hand on the pouch. He takes it out, and to his utter shock and disbelief, no gold coin. Not a single gold coin remains inside the pouch. He's shattered. Nothing left inside him now. The resolve, the dedication, everything, the confidence has gone. He says that if even after so much of effort, I am not able to carry a single gold coin, what is the use of this life? A life without wealth for which I have struggled much. I don't think I should live in this world. It will be a disgrace, it will be shame to go back home empty handed. There was a tree just near that road where he was traveling. He climbs up that tree. He had a rope with him. Using that rope, he ties one end of the rope to the tree, other end, the noose, he puts it inside no, over his neck, and he's just about to jump and commit suicide. At that very moment, where he was just jumping from the branch of the tree and hanging himself down, a divine figure appears, floating on the air and looking straight into the eyes of Somalika. That figure, with a smile, tells Somalika, "Don't do this. Please don't do this. You are not supposed to end your life like this." Somalika asks, "Why? What's the point of living a life like this? It's a helpless life, it's a worthless life. Why should I live? What's the purpose? I worked so hard. I earned, but I'm not able to carry it to my home. I'm not able to use it for myself, for my family. I don't know what to do with this life. So let me end this life of no use, no purpose, no gains." Then the figure which was floating in the air, he says, "Okay, listen to me carefully, my friend. I am destiny. Okay, I am Bhagya. And let me tell you that your destiny is such that you will never be able to keep wealth, consume wealth, kind of spend and enjoy the luxury you are not, your destiny does not allow you to do that. You may earn, but you will never be able to consume or enjoy it. And he said that, why not? If this is not written in my destiny, then let me just end this life. Then destiny again smiles and said, okay, if that is the case, if you really want to enjoy your wealth, then I may give you that boon. I may change those things, but then you will have to carry out a task and answer one of my questions. Then Somalika asks, what is it that you want me to do, and what is the question that you want me to answer? Then the Bhagya says, do one thing. Go back to the same city where you were, earning all those wealth. Go back to the same city. There are two houses I want you to visit and stay there for a night, one by one. The first house is of a merchant whose name is Gupta Dhana. Okay, Gupta Dhana. And the second one, who the name of the merchant is Upabhokta Dhana. So Gupta Dhana and Upabhokta Dhana. Gupta means holding. Okay, so the holder of wealth. And the second one is Upabhokta Dhana, or the person who uses wealth, who consumes wealth, who shares wealth. Go to their houses, spend one night, and come back with the answer of what kind of wealthy person you want to become. Do you want to become somebody like Gupta Dhana, or do you want to become somebody like Upabhokta Dhana? And then I will give you this boon. Somalika agrees. He says, okay, sir, as you say. I'll meet you here again in few days. I'll go back to the same place. I'll visit both the houses and come back with the answer that you're seeking. So he goes back and reaches there in 2 days. One evening, he figures out the place, the exact location of the house of Gupta Dhana. He knocks at the door. It's late night. It's late evening, not night. Gupta Dhana opens the house. Uh, Second merchant's name, Upabhokta. Upabhokta. I'll type it for you. Okay. So Gupta Dhana, he opens the door. And Somalika, with folded hands, he says, good evening, sir. I am a traveler. I was traveling through this city and I don't have a place to sleep or to take rest for tonight. Would you mind giving me ashray or giving me refuge for tonight? Then Gupta is like, oh my God, one more person who wants to be our guest. Why these guests come? But with a very, very cool, cold heart, he says, come, sit somewhere, just go and sit somewhere and you can sleep. And he tells his wife, whatever is there, please give him. There's one more refugee who has come. Give him something to eat and let him sleep there. His wife is not very happy to get one more guest. And he says, oh, whatever was remaining, that cold rice and some dal which was remaining from the morning or the lunch time, he gives. So Malika eats it and sleeps on the floor. And in the morning, early morning, when everybody around there is just about to wake up, at around, let's say, 3:30, 4 o'clock, Somalika hears again two people talking in the dream. One is Bhagya and the other is Karma. Bhagya is telling Karma, why did you allow Gupta Dhana to spend something which he is not supposed to spend? He is a miser. Why did you allow him? And he says, it's all the efforts of Somalika. Somalika has come all the way here and he has made the effort to come here. So he deserved some extra food. So I made Gupta Dhana spend something which he does not His faith does not demand. Now it's all up to you. You take care of it. Why he spent extra? You take care of it now. I am karma. I did my job. So Malika gets up. He's shocked to hear the voices talking to each other like this. Then in the morning, he gets the news that Guptadhana has fallen sick, has fallen ill. And because he was ill, his doctor, his Vaidya, advises him that he will not eat for 2 days so that all the toxins or uh, all the waste material can get out away from his body and he will get cured. So whatever extra he spent on the weaver Somalika, he had to compensate it by not eating for 2 days. That day, Somalika leaves and he goes in the evening. He reaches the house of Upabhukta Dhana. Dhana is wealth. He knocks at the door. Again, it's late evening. A smiling face with so much of warmth in that smile and eyes opens the door. He is Upabhukta Dhana. And with folded hand, he asks, "Who are you, sir?" He says, "I am a traveler and I don't have a place to sleep tonight. Can you please accommodate me for one night?" Upabhakta Sandhana says, "Of course, sir, of course. Please come in. It will be my humble pleasure. It will be my, what do you call? Uh, I'll be happy to invite you. I'm so happy to have you at home. Please come to my house." He goes and asks his wife, "Please give something good to eat to this refugee, to this person." And his wife prepares something very nice, very warm, different types of food, and she serves it. Upabhaktadana himself prepares a very nice, cozy bed for him to sleep, for Somalika to sleep. He gives him a blanket also. He places a glass of water and says that if you need anything else, sir, you can call me. Please take good rest. Please have a good sleep. Somalika is so happy to see such a kind of behavior. With stomach full with good food, he goes to sleep. Again in the sleep around 3:30 or 4 o'clock, he sees a dream in which there are two people talking to each other, two entities or two figures talking to each other. One is Bhagya, other is Karma. Bhagya is telling Karma, "What made you force Upabhakta Dhana to carry out such an action?" Then Karma says, "Well, Somalika deserves it. His efforts deserves it. So he has to get it. Whatever extra spending Upabhokta Dhana has done, now it's up to you to compensate, you to decide what you want to do with it. How you are going to compensate the extra spending that Upabhokta Dhana has done." Somalika gets up. He says, "Oh my God, this is getting interesting. Let me see what happens with Upabhokta Dhana now." So around 9 a.m. that morning, two soldiers from the king's court, they come to Upabhokta house. Then Upabhokta receives them and they are carrying a letter and something in a pouch. The letter says, "You have been awarded as the best businessman of the city for your ethics and conduct. The king is happy to give you a cash prize of 500 gold coins. So this is yours." Somalika looks at this. He smiles. He understands the situation. He understands the principle. He gets the answer that he was looking for. He leaves the house and starts walking again towards his village. On the same tree where he was a few days ago, where he was planning to hang himself, he waits there. And again, destiny comes up and asks, "So, my friend, what have you learned and what kind of person, what kind of spender you want to become, consumer you want to become?" So with a smile, Somalika says, "Sir, I have understood what you are trying to teach me. I don't want to become somebody like Gupta Dhana. I want to become somebody like Upabhukta Dhana, because that wealth is meaningful, which is shared with others, which is distributed with for others. Wealth, if not used, if kept hidden like a miser, brings bad luck, brings ill health, brings misfortune. So I have understood what is the right use of wealth and how it should be shared with others. Please, if you want to give me a boon, let me be somebody like Upabhukta Dhana. Destiny smiles at him and says, Tathastu, so be it. And with that blessing, there is a pouch which comes to Somalika containing 800 gold coins, 300 from the first stay, 500 from the second stay. Very happily, Somalika carries those 800 gold coins and goes back to his house in his village and in his own city, and spends the rest of his life happily helping his family member, helping the villagers, helping the city people in becoming good people, in having a good life by understanding what destiny was trying to teach him. End of the story. Yes, so this was the story. Good. It was interesting. Okay. Great. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm happy that you liked the story. Okay. Let's come to this part now. Let us have just 2-3 minutes of quick discussion. Maybe if you can put in the chat box, I'll be more than happy. And let's take it forward. Is this story just for the sake of entertainment? This story is from Panchatantra. Okay. Is this story just for the sake of entertainment? Let us remind ourselves. Let us just recollect what we have thought about Panchatantra. We have thought about Panchatantra as a book containing stories for children. Children. Is the story only meant for children? Again, we have to think. I know the answer. We all know the answer. No, it's not just meant for the children. I keep on getting messages and requests. Can you take a story session for Panchatantra, for the kids of our society, for the kids of our schools? I tell them, please read it once and understand that it's not just meant for children. Sometimes it's not even meant for children. It's only meant for the elders. There are certain stories which are only meant for the elders. Panchatantra written 2000 years ago. Okay, at least 2000. And this story is a part of it. 2000 years ago and now 2026. Is this story still relevant? Yeah, nice. Lessons from Upanishad, Vedanta, all these things. Yeah. Is the story still relevant? Yeah, because if it is not relevant, no point going ahead. If we feel it's not relevant, if the story is not relevant, if this book is not relevant, if Indian knowledge system, which Panchatantra is a very significant part, is not relevant, let's not go ahead. So this is moral values. It's also more than that. Yes, it's moral values, but yeah, but not just moral. Wait for it, not just moral values. So I'm happy it's triggered thoughts. It's absolutely relevant even today. What makes it relevant? Let's say this story. What are the quick lessons from the story? If we can have just one point that you are taking from the story. If I ask you, what is that one point that you take from the story? or one lesson that you want to carry. There's no right or wrong. You decide what is the lesson that you are going to carry. Sharing is equal to happiness, Koelji. It's all how to lead happy, satisfied life. Sharing, rethinking. That is very nice. Philanthropy, what is sharing wealth? So, what is what is the measure of being wealthy? Very nice. Sharing again. Okay, who are the two people we are talking about there? Who are the two entities who come up again and again in the story? Concept of sustainability. Very beautiful, Nabanita ji. Concept of sustainability. Wealth should be invested or improved. Absolutely. Hoarding of wealth. Even modern economics has been talking about how hoarding, what hoarding can do, what is wealth, but they never talk about it from a philosophical point of view. Moral effort without wisdom is worthless. What is the magic of effort? What is bhagya? Very nice, Lakshmi. How both of them play an important role. It's not completely on destiny, but sometimes it's also not completely on effort. So it's a mix of both. And with our efforts, maybe we can influence slightly, if not more, our bhagya also. Unconditional perseverance, absolutely, Sabinaji. Helps in learning resilience, perseverance, resilience, mindful consumption. Beautiful. Whatever you give comes back to you. Karma, right? Karma. And in equal measures. Sharing is caring. Karma is what seen cause of efforts. Very nice. Sharing is efforts. Well, beautiful. Right? The two important characters, forces, which human beings have been thinking about, trying to understand, bhagya and karma. Use this two as lenses or measures, not just to justify the actions in the present, but also to validate the happenings of the past. We need an answer, right? We need an answer for the mind. Why I had to suffer? Why this happened to me? What will happen if I do this? We have this question. We have constantly these questions in our head. Constantly, every day we face this question. Every day. And the answer may be these two words. At different point of time, each of them giving us a better acceptance for what has happened or what may happen. Bhagya and karma. Results are same. Okay, beautiful. I'm happy. As you saw, sharing is happening. Right now. We need to focus on passion without worry of results. Absolutely. So as Bhagavad Gita says. Panchatantra. Have you thought that Panchatantra will be talking about this? Yeah, share that. This is Panchatantra. Philosophical part. Okay. Good. I am happy that you enjoyed the story. I'm happy that we are able to discuss so many things and we are able to learn from what everybody is putting in the chat box. It would have been much better if you had a physical conversation discussion, but assume that this is a physical conversation because mentally we are present over here and the constant replies show it. So one story telling the philosophical aspect of wealth, bhagya, karma, returns, consumption, holding, everything. One more story just to balance it out, okay, and just to uh, see the spread that Panchatantra can offer us, to the entire spread that Panchatantra can offer us. So let's see this. You must have heard the story. Uh, I'm pretty sure because it was a part of many curriculum, many state and central curriculum earlier also. But look at it from a different perspective today. So this story, Panchatantra is famous because of one more reason, because of animal stories. When we say Panchatantra, who are the characters of Panchatantra? These are the animals. So unfortunately, we didn't had any animal characters in the previous story. But let's not uh, let's not get disappointed and bring in some animal characters in this story. Okay? Two interesting characters. So here, ready for the next story, everyone? Okay, great. Let's see this. Let's hear this story. Once upon a time, in a jungle, there lived a lion. The lion was very strong, ferocious, fantastic hunter. Used to go around the jungle, hunt, eat, and live like a king in that jungle. One unfortunate day, he started his search for food early morning. He went after a deer but could not grab it. He went after a buffalo but again was unsuccessful in killing it because the herd came back strongly. He went after a couple of more animals and still he was not able to get hold of some food for that day. It was almost late afternoon, like 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock, and still he was hungry. The day was getting from bad to worse for him. At around 3:30, he gives up all hopes and decides, let me take a different path or a different route to my home today. I may find some animals, some food available in that path. So he starts walking through a different path. And on his way back home, via this new path, he comes across a cave. He looks around the cave and the decor or the upkeep, the ambience of the cave was such that he quickly concluded there must be an animal living inside this. He goes inside and sees that the animal is not present, but he can sense that the animal will definitely return before sunset. So he hides himself, the lion hides himself inside the cave in one corner and waits for the animal who used to live in that cave to return so that he can pounce on the animal and kill it and have the food finally. I'll come to your point, Barwaji, Konsengji. Very beautiful point. So he's waiting there patiently, hoping that the animal is big, that the animal is having enough flesh so that he can eat, and hoping that the animal comes inside quickly. Incidentally, that cave belonged to a jackal, a smart little jackal. Just before sunset, the jackal returned near the cave. And he was just about to enter the cave when he spots something. He sees that there are footmarks of a lion entering into the cave. The footmarks are such that the footmarks are going inside the cave, but there are no footmarks of any animal coming out of the cave. And he becomes more aware now. He takes few steps back and is wondering, is there a lion inside the cave? Because if there is a lion inside the cave and if I enter, I am gone, I am killed. So should I run away from this place? Should I go back to some other place? But then he thinks, he says that, what if there is no lion? And what if the footmarks which have been coming out of the cave has been rubbed before or have been removed because of wind and other things? So he said, let me verify. Let me verify once whether the lion is present inside or not. And an idea comes to his mind. He says that, okay. With that idea, he takes a few steps ahead, reaches near the opening or the entrance of the cave, and shouts at the cave, or rather, talks to the cave. The story is called as the talking cave. He's talking to the cave and saying something like this. He's like, oh cave, welcome me back. Allow me to enter. Give me the permission to enter the cave. Okay, give me the permission to enter. The lion who is hiding inside, he is wondering what kind of idiot is this jackal who is asking a cave for permission. The jackal is out of his mind. Let him come inside. I will pounce on him and kill him. The jackal very smartly says again, oh cave, oh my cave, why are you not talking to me tonight or today? Every day you used to talk to me. You used to grant me the permission. You know I am very particular about this. You used to give me the permission to enter you. And you know that without your permission, I will never enter you. This is the deal that we had. So why are you quiet today? Why are you not talking to me? Why are you not giving me the permission? Is everything okay with you, my cave? So the lion was sitting inside. He says, oh, this must be a different cave then. The cave and this jackal have a dealing. Okay. And maybe in my presence, this cave is terrified. It's the cave is not able to speak because of fear. And if no reply comes from the cave side, the jackal will run away and I will lose my food. So I will have to intervene. So next time when the jackal says or asks, okay, can I come inside? Give me the permission to get in. At that moment, the lion who was sitting inside the cave, he says, yes, yes, you can come inside. I welcome you. You can come inside. The jackal then and there itself understand, oh my God, the lion is still inside. He runs for his life and never enters the cave. The day for the lion becomes bad to worse. The jackal who was very close to him, or the jackal who was very near him, again flees and he does not get the food. The lion had to sleep hungry, empty stomach that night, but the jackal was saved. Okay. You have heard the story? Very, very nice, little, cute, simple story from again the Panchatantra. And yeah, I hope you like this one also. You like to revisit the story again. Now, see, this story again has been developed in a very nice manner. If we can just, and because we now have the background of the first story, we have understood that all these stories are not meant for entertaining. Let's look at this story again and try to understand what is this story telling us. And more importantly, we all are teachers. Understand what the teacher who had written this story or compiled this story was trying to tell his or her students through this story. What was the message? What are the messages? What do we learn from this? Efforts without proper planning might go in vain. Okay, nice, very nice. Just like with what happened with the lion. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Presence of mind is important. Be wary, and not everyone is a fool. Very nice. Realize the situation, respond accordingly. Patience with efforts lead to success. No patience for the side of the line. Absolutely. Be intelligent, and you can come out of your problems. Stay alert. Nice. Check details and do not panic. How beautiful. How beautiful. Be smart always. Evaluation. Sometimes it's better not to speak. Beautiful. Wow. See, observation skills. Sorry, I'm not may not be able to read all the comments, but I'm very happy to read all go through some of them. Strongest does not necessarily mean the cleverest. Critical thinking and decision making is important. We keep talking about observational skills. We should not run after crisis of the situation. Nice. And the point, sometimes to solve problems, we have to think out of the box. Think before you act. Smart and just how. Think nice. Awareness. Yeah. Alertness, awareness, patience. Now, I don't think there is any other lesson left. You all have covered it very, very well. Okay. Now, let's go to this point. Never underestimate your opponent, even if it's a small one. People may try to fool you, but you have to be wise and take decisions. Who considered that and said lion as king? Because animal can't have knowledge to judge individual. Okay, very nice, very nice. Yeah. Animals cannot have. Oh, maybe it's too early to judge, or maybe this is not the forum. This is too small of a forum to decide that. But yeah, quick thinking. See this? So all of this lessons are there in the story. Okay, can these lessons can these lessons which you have pointed out and very very wisely, very nicely you have put it out, can these lessons be taught or shared? Can this knowledge be shared with others as bullet points? So if I, let's say, if I copy this, all the pointers that you are given in a chat box, I put it in an Excel sheet or put it in a PPT and present it to the class saying that, look, quick thinking saves the day is important. Both bravery and cleverness are needed for life. Can I just give this as pointer? Will it be, because these are the knowledge nuggets that you have given. This is the knowledge content. Can I give them just as it is, like you have given it on the chat box, copy paste? Or should I go with the story? What is more important, or what is you think is the better way to go ahead? Copy this point because these are the knowledge. The story is not the knowledge. Story is not knowledge. Story contains knowledge. Okay. So what do you think? This way or the story? Ah, the story? No, the experience of the story matters. Very, very nicely put. Because you experienced it. Here, there is no jackal in front of us. There is no lion in front of us. There is no Somalika in front of us. There is no weaver in front of us. There is no Guptadhana in front of us. There is no Upabhaktadhana in front of us. Where are these players playing their role? Here. And what are they doing when they are playing their role over here? They are triggering. What they are triggering? Thoughts, emotions, connections, experiences. And what happens? We automatically start flowing with it and learning from it. We don't need bullet points. Imagination and thinking of the characters felt. Yeah, you have not experienced that. It creates impression in the mind. The story contains the message. The first, let student decipher. Then these comments can be shown to them. Beautiful. That is what it is, Mr. Knowledge exists. Knowledge exists. Okay. It cannot be created. Sometimes we use this in marketing or economics. Demand exists or whatever it is. So it exists. We have to tune ourselves to get those knowledge, to understand that knowledge. No teacher ever, no scientist ever has created knowledge. Knowledge exists. As humans, we are only deciphering the knowledge, trying to understand the philosophies, understand the principles governing the world. And we're just trying to understand. In the history of civilizations, Indian civilization is considered as a knowledge-based civilization. Okay, probably maybe the one of the few civilizations which is still considered as a knowledge-based civilization, because what is has left behind, or what was at the center of their existence, what is at the center of their existence is knowledge. Knowledge about the Param Satya, the ultimate, what is reality, what is true, what is real, is what we have all been seeking. We are not people who can be fooled with random stories. We understand there is a meaning behind a story. We all try and also understand, oh, this is a story, don't teach me. But yeah, sometimes we do get blinded. So, knowledge based society, the Greek, knowledge based. Indian society, Indian civilization, knowledge based. Let's say, like the Romans or the Spartans, they were military civilizations. Arab, Egyptians, more of trade based civilization. But Indian civilization was more of a knowledge based civilization, still a knowledge based civilization. And in that knowledge based civilization, we have been able to create a system in itself, a system to take care of knowledge, not just to understand, but also store the understanding, to carry forward the understanding, and also to understand the process of understanding. We have been very particular about this. And hence, IKS, Indian knowledge system, Indian knowledge tradition, whatever way you want to call it, is not just a subject of 2 credit or 3 credits. It's a churning. It's a churning of thousands of years that we people of this land are lucky enough to have it from our ancestors. Wherever we are, whichever language we are speaking, whichever religion we are following, this dharohar we call it, or this something, a part of this, the rarest of rare civilization where knowledge was at the center is still at the center. This is the Indian knowledge system, not meant to teach just one particular aspect of our existence, but focusing, trying to understand every possible aspect of our existence, every possible, from birth to death, everything being covered during this lifetime and also beyond it, from materials present inside the earth, deep inside the earth, to astronomical bodies present beyond the atmosphere. We had tried to understand each and every aspect of our existence. From things that exist outside us, which we can see and perceive, to energy that is present deep inside us. Everything we had been trying to explore and understand. And once a person, once a guru, once a teacher, once a scientist was able to decode it, understand it, he used to share it with others. He used not because to show how knowledgeable he or she is, but also to verify it, whether this is Satya or not. If it is not the truth, then is there something we can add or subtract or modify so that we can reach closer to the truth? Because that is what we are seeking. That is knowledge. Nothing but only the truth can liberate us. That has been one of our principles. So once we have understood the truth, it's very difficult, truth about a system, right? It's very difficult to share it, because sharing is the process of educating. What is education? There are so many comments. I'm so happy. I'm reading it, by the way. Okay. Sorry, I have to complete few points, so I may not be able to respond to each of them, but I'm reading it. So thank you. So what is education? Transformation. Education is transformation. Yeah. One of the result or outcome of education can be transformation. But Is education equal to transformation? Education is leading a person from darkness to light. Very nicely, beautifully, poetically, figuratively said, Sunitaji. Leading from darkness to light. And we know that the darkness is not a physical darkness. Light is not a physical light. We know there's something else. So it is learning process. Perfect. Very simple learning process. Nice. Very nice. I like this simplicity. It's a learning process. It's a journey to enlightenment. Okay. Nice. So education is a process, right? We all agree it's a process. Education is not a state, it's a process. So can I say it like this? If it is a process, something is happening, something is moving, because in process, things cannot remain static. Process means some movement, some changes. So can I say education is a process of knowledge transfer? Is a process of knowledge transfer, which ideally would lead to development, enlightenment, realization, feeling, getting the light. This is the outcome of education. Education is a key to right. Okay. Uh, okay. Is a journey to light. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. So uncivilization to civilization. Yeah, very nice. There's even a great debate going on. What is civilized? What is not civilized? Because in the name of making a person or a society civilized, a lot of things have happened in the past. Okay, just in the name of making somebody civilized. Education is a process of knowledge gain. So anyway, education is a process of knowledge transfer. Listen to this. Just simplify it. Simplifying it. Education is a process of transfer of knowledge from one person who has slightly more knowledge and to the other person who may not have as much knowledge. So, education is a process of knowledge transfer, but leading to understanding. Is leading to understanding. If the transfer is complete and if the perfect, then the other person understands what the first person is talking about. Now, if this question, if I tell me if this question is correct or not. Okay, first tell me if this question is correct or not. If I ask you, if I ask you, do you have knowledge? If I ask only this much, do you have knowledge? Is this a complete question? Is it a correct question, or there is some scope of improvement? Do you have knowledge? If I ask you this, is this question okay? Will you be able to answer this? Yes or no? Do you have knowledge? Yes or no? Okay. So Tina ji says incomplete. Not correct. Knowledge. Very nice. Context need. What is it? No, no, no. Not a complete question. Very nice. Not a complete question. About what? Very nice. About what was has to be. Right. Very nice. So knowledge is always about something good. So again, no, education is the process of transferring knowledge. Knowledge about something. About something. That knowledge has to be about something. So there is an object of knowledge. So when I say I am teaching semiconductors in a classroom for physics students. If I'm teaching, if I'm having a session on semiconductors, if I am the teacher and there are students, I am sharing knowledge, I'm transferring knowledge about semiconductors. Okay, so it has to be about something. What is philosophy? So again, philosophy is our knowledge about life. Similarly, every department, every branch of knowledge, every faculty that we have in our universities, in our classroom, every subject is basically talking about, or it's all about sharing knowledge related to a particular system. It can be for atoms or for chemicals. becomes chemistry. For plants, becomes botany. For animals, becomes zoology. Human behavior when they start living in a society, sociology or anthropology. Wealth, representation of wealth, economics. About power, authority, political science. So there has to be an object of knowledge. Right? So education is the transfer of knowledge. Knowledge is related to an object. Now, how to transfer this knowledge is a very key. And we are all in the business of transfer of knowledge. We are all in the business of education. I'm saying business from a very, very nice point of view. Okay. Yes, Dr. Maharanjanji. There are comments I agree, and good that these thoughts are triggering it. But see this. Yeah, but maybe you can just write it down for some further discussion. I agree to your point. The object of knowledge is what is known. That what is known, what you have realized, what you have understood. Only that I can transfer. So when I say that I am going to teach, or somebody is going to teach about semiconductors, I assume that he or she knows about a system called semiconductors. Okay, and or maybe in an English lecture or English course which is talking about Shakespeare, William Shakespeare, and his contribution towards English literature. The object of knowledge are the work of Shakespeare. That's I need to. Okay. Now, how to transfer is interesting. Because we cannot just randomly transfer. We'll have to figure out a way to transfer. Even if you are holding three different objects in our hand and I want to give it to somebody else, I'm talking about material objects in my hand, three different material objects in my hand, and I want to give it to somebody else. I think, oh, which one I should give first, which one I should give second, which one I should give third. Can I give all three of them together? Because there is a process to it. If we don't understand the right process for the knowledge transfer, the knowledge transfer will get impacted, will get affected. Okay, just a minute. Can I share something? Share content or camera. Okay, I think I can use this. Oh, let it be. I think I wanted to. We will continue with the discussion. What nowadays is given is Vidya and not Jnanam. Mhm. This very interesting words. Okay, Shastriji, and I'm happy that these points are coming. Vidya is different from Jnanam. Yes, good. There's different way of looking at it. I have a different way of looking at it. Coming from an engineering background, I look at things always in a very analytical, systematic, or what not systematic is not the right analytical and different ways. So yeah, but good that you're noting it out. Understand what is Vidya, understand what is Kala, understand what is Jnana, what are the difference between them, because they are all related to the knowledge, and this is what we need to make sure that all go hand in hand, because then the knowledge transfer is complete. Otherwise, it will be half adha adhura. Okay, now let's look at the role of stories in knowledge transfer. The role of stories in knowledge transfer, because our point is that Panchatantra is an example that we have taken, is a case study that we have taken, and we are trying to figure out what is the role of stories in knowledge transfer. So we first saw we first heard some stories. Let's try to decode them. What is a story? Let's move to this question now. So we have discussed enough about what is education, what is knowledge. What is a story? In very simple words, can you tell me what is your understanding about story? What is a story? So if I say a story is dash. So story is dash. So what is a story? According to you, how do you define a story? What is a story? Okay, story is a message. Okay. Can a story exist without a message? Hmm? An idea. Story is open to interpretation, of course. So these are all the features of stories. Story is a narrative. Story can be a narrative. Both the words are used interchangeably as far as the definition goes, but yeah, the usage may be different. Reflection of a character, message. A story is an interesting way to explain a lesson. Okay, that's one of the uses of story. The illustration of an idea, okay? Just very interesting. An experience, okay? Value. Story can be used to transfer value. Story is an interesting way to grab the attention. Practical knowledge are inside the stories. Okay, not all, maybe not all, right? So there are many such stories which are there in our cinemas, in our books, in our OTT platform, which may not have any practical knowledge in them. Story is a lesson on what the simplifies the large concept. Okay, all like very beautiful points. All are uses of stories or features of stories. Conflict of thought, story that describes. Oh, very nice. I like this, Aparna ji, what you have written. So I'll take it as the most simplest way to define a story beyond its application, usage, and features. So as Aparna ji has said, describes a sequence of events. That sequence of events may have a message, may not have a message, may have a lesson, may not have a lesson, may be for entertainment, may not be for entertainment, may be value based, may not be value based, may have conflict of thoughts, may not have conflict of thoughts, but it has to be a sequence of events. It can be used for simplifying larger concepts. It can be purposely used to transfer, to share, to build, to modify a narrative. It can be used for that. It is an account of real or imaginary events. Very nice, very nice. Real or imaginary events can be real or can be unreal, but yes, events and sequence of events, reflection of facts, may be facts, may not be facts. Creative expression of beautiful, nice. So two important points, two important words for the day. We had given a good thought to it. Collectively, we have given a good thought to it and come up with very important education and stories. Stories, sequence of events. What does this sequence of events tell? So story has to be, there has to be a start, there has to be a middle point, there has to be an ending to the story, like what happened with the story of uh, the weaver Somalika, or the story of the jackal and the lion, or the story of anything that we, when we go home, when we describe something that has happened in our staff room, in our campuses, what we are basically telling is a story, a sequence of event. पता है आज क्या हुआ? वो जब आई तो उसने ऐसा पहना था, वो जब बाद में क्लासरूम में गई तो एक स्टूडेंट भी था और एक स्टूडेंट भी थी, समथिंग लाइक दैट, रैंडम थिंग. तो उसने, पता है उसने आज उसको क्या कहा? सो व्हाट आर यू सेइंग? पता है ऐसा हुआ, फिर ऐसा हुआ, फिर ऐसा हुआ, फिर ऐसा. So it's a sequence of events which may tell us a lesson. Now, the beauty of stories. Okay, listen to this. The beauty of this story is that no human being can ever say no to a story. So when I, even today, in the evening at 7 o'clock, when I asked, you must be tired returning home. When I asked you, do you want to hear a story? You say that अच्छा better a story है. कोई session से तो अच्छा है कि आप story ले लो, एक story सुना दो. And even after completing one story, it was 7:45 or 7:15. I asked, do you want to go for another story? You said yes, let's go for another story. But it's very difficult to say no to a story. Very difficult. Why? Because functionally, stories are basically activating the core of our brain, the core function of our brain. What is the core function of our brain is pattern recognition. Yeah, depends on the narrative, of course. पैटर्न रिकॉग्निशन फंक्शन काम ब्रेन का एक ही काम है, पैटर्न को रिकॉग्नाइज करना बस. ओ, he didn't he didn't say good morning to me today. Why did this happen? Has it something to do with yesterday's event? So what are we doing? One dot here, one dot there, we are trying to connect. What is the mind doing? Connecting dots, recognizing pattern. Stories are those patterns. Stories trigger that function very, very well. And mind gets activated, not just mentally, but also emotionally. Not just the nervous system, but also the endocrine system. It gets activated. And when we have the students, the participant, the listener, the person who wants to get the knowledge, when we have them through their senses, through their emotions, through their hormones, we have the complete attention of them. And when we have the complete attention of them, we can plot, we can decide which point goes first, which point goes next, when, then how to plot that image of the knowledge that we want to transfer, how to create a pattern of the knowledge that we want to transfer. Knowingly, unknowingly, this is the process that happens. Is there any signal transduction? Oh, Gargiji, I'm not able to understand this. Acha, you're talking about the psychological aspect. I see. I am not a person who understands psychology more. Basic engineer person who has used story for teaching a lot. So maybe if you can just explain me what does mean, maybe I will be able to answer it. How does Panchatantra have an imprint? I'll come to that point, sir. Very nice. So stories help us to transfer knowledge, because if we use stories, there is a high degree of curiosity, there is a high degree of engagement, there is a high degree of retention, there is high degree of memorization, there is a high degree of reproduction of the knowledge. ये सब हो जाता है. अच्छा अच्छा endocrine. Okay, no, okay, I got it. No, I just know endocrine system. Signal transduction system, I am not aware of it, man. Endocrine system is the hormonal system. That basic biology I know. Yes. Okay. So that is the use of stories. See what happens, even when we go and deliver a lecture in the classroom, we want, there is a central theme, there is a central concept that we want to share. And in order to start, in order to make sure that this central concept, whether it is any physics, mechanics, political science, English, anything that we want to transfer, that central concept to get transferred, we need to start it from a point and end it at a point. So again, there is a pattern to it. That pattern needs to be transferred in a very systematic manner. And if that system is not followed, the transfer may not be complete. So curiosity, build curiosity, make engagement, uh, retain the interest, transfer the knowledge, help memorize, and then be able to reproduce when that's required. All of them should be the ideal way of ideal output of knowledge transfer. Right. Okay. Yeah. So all this can be done through stories. Do we technically think about all these elements while we are actually delivering our lectures? The answer is maybe no, not always. Not always we go through it. As educators, should be aware of it? The answer is yes, we should. Why? Because the person, the children, the students who are the participants who are sitting in front of us, it's our duty to build that circuit and transfer that knowledge. Should be based on signal transduction. Yeah, I got the point. Yes, correct. Yes. So we have to do that. Indian knowledge system considered Vedas as to be the prime source of knowledge, especially starting with the Rig Vedas and others. The knowledge of Rig Vedas or the Vedas were in sutras or in form shlokas, in suktas, which were worded, not in written manner. Writing happened much later, but they were worded in such a way that they could make a concept, a person to understand the concept well and get, memorize it and use it, understand it and transfer it. It is vast knowledge, and Vedas were not the only source of knowledge. There are different sources of knowledge. Vedas were later on, divided into four parts or four segments, each of them containing four segments by Ved Vyasas and his group of people. So they, but there was a problem. Not everybody was a Ucha Adhikari. Not everybody was a bright student or was an interested student. So they also used to lose interest. There were so many people who used to lose interest just memorizing it, just reading it, and going forward with like that. So our gurus of the past realized, oh, this is not the way it should be done. Huh? Can it be more interesting? Let me give you an analogy. I give this analogy often. If I give you, if we give our kids carrot to eat, saying that carrot khao, you will have a lot of vitamin A and your eyes will be strong, your body will be strong, so you should eat carrot. Eat raw carrot. Like, oh, what is this raw carrot? Yuck, oh, very, very bad taste. I will not chew, I will not eat. So what we do, what a mother can do, take that carrot, grate it, make a nice gajar ka halwa out of it, and now give it to the same child. He will happily eat it. The child is happy because he is getting something tasty. He's interested to eat something which is so sweet and so nice to taste. Why is the mother happy? Because ultimately the nutrients or the vitamins or the gajar which she wanted to make sure that it enters into the body of the child has entered the body, and that too happily. So stories are that gajar ka halwa. They are not raw, lacking taste. Stories make the same knowledge bit more interesting, more palatable, tasty, consumable for the mind. And if the mind is able to retain it, first of all, it needs to absorb it, be ready to absorb it. If it's ready to absorb it, retain it, then the nutrients in that story, in the nutrients which has been embedded in the story, the knowledge nuggets will take roots, will nourish the mind, will nourish the thoughts. Yes, pedagogy. Stories are a part of pedagogy. Are a very important pedagogy. Okay. So that is the job of storytelling. So hence, later on, the Puranas came into existence. So if you look at the Indian knowledge system with respect to, I'm just talking about, let's say, the Shaddarshanas, the six philosophies. The six philosophies are absolutely bland, very, very deep philosophy, but it's not for every person. So they realize, oh, we need to create characters. This is not the way. The Vyas, a great, great teacher. No, ऐसा नहीं चलेगा. I need to create characters. How is a common man going to understand it? Carry it. A book may get lost, may get burnt, may get altered, may have a revised edition. But no, 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 no. A story may help. Everybody can share it because everybody can carry it. So our gurus decided to use stories. In the different areas of knowledge, different branches of knowledge, there was one branch of knowledge which was the most practical one. Most practical one. It was not philosophy at all. Complete practical wisdom. And that branch of knowledge was called Niti Shastra. Niti Shastra. What is Niti? Now, Niti can have multiple meanings in English. One word with multiple meaning in English. One of the English authors, Indologist, when he was writing his book, when he was translating Panchatantra, he wrote something like this. He said, it's a shame on all Western civilizations. Okay, I'm quoting him. It's a shame on all Western civilization that none of them in their languages have a single term, single word which can match the intensity, the gravity, and the scope of a word like Niti. Niti is not just morality, madam. So, what is Niti? Niti, in very simple terms, is that which leads. That which leads. So, hence, Niti can be morality, ethics, law, governance, policy, strategy, everything combined together and more. That is Niti. The science which deals with Niti is called Niti Shastra. Not just good conduct, Rashmi Rekha ji. Not just good conduct. The word good is very, very important over there. The Niti is deep. So the ability of a person to discriminate between the right and the wrong, considering the situation, considering the space, considering the time, is what Niti is. Niti Shastra. Mahabharat can be called a book of Niti Shastra. Ramayana can be called as a book of Niti Shastra. Abhigyan Shakuntalam has a lot of Niti elements. Many authors have written about Niti. There is a very beautiful scholar, Jain scholar whose name was Somadeva. He has written something called a Niti Vakya Amritam. Thirukural is a book on Niti Shastra, uh, which is we find in Tamil Nadu. So many books. In Maharashtra, we will find a book called as Das Bodh, again a book on Niti Shastra. Right? Panchatantra is also a book on Niti Shastra. So what when we say Panchatantra, can you tell me what Panchatantra is a book of? So people will say stories. Absolutely no. Sir, Maharajan sir. So when we say Niti or Niti Shastra in modern world, it can be applicable for management, for governance, for public policy, for politics, for economics, all put together. The organizational setup and the objective vary, but the basic human interaction more or less remains the same. Okay. Uh, so Panchatantra is a book of Niti Shastra. We will not say it's a book of stories. It contains stories. But is it talking about stories? No. It is talking about Niti. How it is talking about Niti through the stories of animals, humans. How it came? So maybe the existence or the genesis of Panchatantra tells us about the role it has played. It is said that there was a king called Raja Amar Shakti in a kingdom called Mahileropam. He was finding it very difficult to train his three disinterested students to become good leaders. One of his ministers suggested that there is a very innovative teacher in the kingdom who could help. That teacher was Acharya Vishnu Sharma ji, who was called. He understood the problem. He understood that it is not intelligence or intellect which is missing in these students, but it is the lack of interest and curiosity. So he took them to his ashram. For the next 6 months, he trained them through stories. And in 6 months, you are to bring about a superb transformation. The three princes now became all eligible to become king through their knowledge about the different aspects of governance. Because every story in Panchatantra is not a story, but it is a living case study. And through all this case study, they were able to understand what could go wrong, what could go right, what are the decisions, what are the thought processes behind those decisions. That 6 month course, that 6 month, what do we call today as crash course, triggered Acharya Vishnu Sharma ji to write something which will be helpful for all the future generations. And that is how he was able to come up with Panchatantra. It's not a book of stories. It contains stories having lessons on Niti Shastra. Which aspects of Niti Shastra? Well, he had divided the book into 5 segments, hence it is called Panchatantra. 5 tantras or techniques or 5 parts, 5 segments, 5 elements. Those tantras are Mitra Bhedam, Mitra Labham, Mitra Samaprapti or Mitra Labham, Kakulukyam, Labdha Pranasham, Aparishit Karakam. Talking about alliances, forming alliances, breaking alliances, managing competition, spotting opportunities, having a critical thinking before decision making. All these aspects will come. From the philosophical story of Somalika the Weaver to the absolutely practical story of the jackal and the lion. Many such stories exist which teach us about the different aspects or the different situation that one can face in life. And when we say face such situation, what we have to remember is the character or the story which will trigger us. Oh, this is the right way of doing it. One of the best feedback that I have ever received in my life as a teacher was in Tirupati when I was taking a session and I was meeting one of the participants for the second time. And he came to me and he said, "Sir, after your first session, I bought the Panchatantra book and I started reading it again." He didn't give it to his son and said that tum padho. Nahi. He started reading it for his son every evening. And after some time, one day when his father, this person, he came home in a very sad mood. His son asked, who was in seventh or eighth standard, he asked, "What happened?" And very reluctantly, his father said, "Oh, this is the type of things which is happening in the office, what to do." And his son, that son who was studying in seventh or eighth standard, he said, "Oh, are you able to recollect that story of the jackal from there? Why don't you take lessons from it?" His father smiled. He said that, "Wow, this is not what I was expecting, but this is exactly what Vishnu Sharma ji wanted to do." And that was a feedback which I will carry forever in my life. That is the role of Panchatantra. No other book in the history of humankind, maybe I'm making a big statement, sometimes Bible, yes, but no other book in the history of mankind has ever been translated into so many different languages as the Panchatantra. Just go through the history of Panchatantra, you will be able to. Even I was shocked 8 or 9 years ago when I first read the real Panchatantra and came to know about the history of it. I was shocked. I said, "Oh my God, this book has done so many things, gone to almost all the parts of the world." In every civilized society of today, you will find a version of Panchatantra available there in their own language. And it still is available with us as an integral part of Indian knowledge system. I'm saying total Indian knowledge system, not just Indian knowledge, but the knowledge system, telling us about the subject of Niti Shastra, the significance of having that rational thinking available when we are living in a socio-economic political setup, wherever we are, inside our campuses, inside our offices, inside our family, inside our house, or inside society, as a citizen of the state, wherever we are. And also telling us, the teachers, how to teach, not just telling us how to teach, but also giving us elements of using them in our classroom. All the characters are ready-made elements. We can use them. I use them often in our lectures. All the setting, all the plots, even today, to convey the message of what is the power of storytelling, I have used them. I have conducted, no, sorry, not about me. I'm sorry if I'm using the word I often, but let me just explain my gratitude towards the book Panchatantra, okay? Wherever I go, whatever session I take, whether I'm taking a session for all the top level managements or the mid level managers, or even for salespeople, for a non-profit organization, for a for-profit organization, for military officers, these story connect. Why? Because they carry the knowledge. None of the stories. We all know the human mind is sharp enough to understand, oh, this story is telling something. Why don't we bring it back? If these stories are beautiful and they are versatile enough to get accommodated in so many different classrooms and so many different setups, why don't we use them? Think about it. An integral part of Indian knowledge system. And the beauty, one more beauty of this is that one of the few stories where you will rarely have this religious biases. I love Mahabharata. I'm a big, huge fan of Mahabharata. I think there is no single story on the entire planet which can come even 50% to match 50% to the kind of story that Mahabharata is. Not even a single story. Never ever it can happen. Mahabharata is Mahabharata. But still, when it comes to teaching, using stories as a pedagogical tool, I prefer Panchatantra because it has many psychological advantage for a student, especially in today's society when we have attached ourselves to a religious language linguistic religious identity so much that it's very rarely we can see things objectively. So in that case we need the objectivity that Panchatantra carries, the neutrality that Panchatantra carries. It's very easy to get attached to human characters, hai na? Every religion, every organized religion is all about a story. I keep saying this. Sorry, it's a bit controversial, but let me just say it because we are all scholars, and maybe it's at that time I can share. Any organized religious on this planet can exist without a god, but no organized religion on this earth can exist without a story. No organization. So Panchatantra understands that. Acharya Vishnu Sharma understands that. So hence he has very beautifully used animal characters or characters which are more normal human beings. Puranas are also talking stories. Puranas are also stories, but there is a metaphysical element to it. There are gods, there are this, that. So sometimes we may get carried away. What is more important than that gajar ka halwa is the vitamin A that the gajar contains. What is more important than the stories is the knowledge nuggets that is imbibed in those stories. But sometimes we get so blinded by the stories that we are not able to see the knowledge. And that can be a problem. And hence, as a teacher, it's also a responsibility to be careful about the words, the events that we choose to describe the story, to narrate the story in order to transfer the message, the knowledge. Ah, yes, sir, Sabina ji. It's very similar, very similar. Right. So hence, this is Panchatantra. Use it. First, read it. Now I'm giving you a second-hand experience of, or for you, it's a second-hand experience of what Panchatantra is. I would prefer if you can read it. Go into the world. See it through the lens of a teacher. What has that person done in order to share this knowledge? When he's talking about speaking truth, when he's talking about understanding the enemy, when he is talking about the different ways of handling conflict, when he's talking about what are the of saying or hiding the truth. So there are differences. See that. Go through it. He's a master storyteller and a master teacher who has left us with a versatile book like Panchatantra. Again, important part of Indian knowledge system. Stories are basically a very important part of Indian knowledge system. In Indian traditions, every bit of knowledge about a system was transferred through stories. So we have stories about Rahu, Ketu, Shani, and all those things. Why? Because we realize not everybody will be able to understand astronomy or astrology. So for a common man, the story works. We have stories on mathematics also. We have stories on management. Also, this Panchatantra is a very good case of it. We have stories of metaphysics also. Not everybody will be able to understand what are forces of nature, what is electromagnetism, what is this dhatu, that dhatu, what is protons, neutrons. So let's build characters. Easier. Easier to transfer. And the stories are still alive, by the way. They realized the importance of it. And as people with the modern day knowledge that we have, with the noble role that we are performing as teacher, let's use them judicially with using our own discretion. Again, purely for the transfer of knowledge which is able to make the student realize the truth and nothing else. Truth which is not distorted by any of our own biases and inclinations. This Panchatantra can help. Okay. So with that, I think, how much time do I have? I was considering till 9 o'clock.
2 minutes.
Huh?
If you're planning to take any questions.
Yeah. So maybe if you have any questions, you can share this question or any discussion. I'll try my best to answer them.
Yeah, there are 10 more minutes. Can take them. If you have any
Thank you,
questions,
Nabanitaji.
the chat.
Yeah, if you have any questions, any thoughts you have, which can be discussed, which can be answered, please go ahead. Thank you, Nabanitaji. I hope, yeah, no questions. Am I smart enough to understand that if all the compliments are coming, it's time to wind up or? Okay. How do we get students on board with AI? Okay, nice. Spoiling their ability to focus. Very pertinent question, Saiji. One of the ways, okay, is definitely storytelling. Definitely. See what is happening to them. Where are they moving? Where is the mind moving? So if you're not able to engage them, we are not able to bring them on board, as you use the word on board. Can we have a, a thorough understanding of what can bring their mind into the classroom? Whether it is that curiosity, how to develop a curiosity. What does modern storytellers do? What does the Netflix series do today? They have a trailer. And why does something gets excited when watching the trailer? Because we know, oh my god, this may come, what is going to come next? These kind of thoughts engage them, and this interest, this curiosity we have to develop. We know it's a big challenge for us. I have in my slide I mentioned one point. I keep always saying this, and maybe this will help. As teachers, never look yourself as professors. Always look at yourself as performers. That stage is yours. You need to perform to transfer that knowledge. Use it for your own happiness. As a performer, how can you convey that message? So maybe when you start understanding what brings them back to the classroom, and this is a big workshop, okay, I take at least 2 days for us to have a discussion on this. It's a big workshop. You can try it out in a class. Take one single theme. Okay, very, very in a crisp manner. Take one single theme. This is the core message that I want to transfer. For this core message, what should be my starting point? How I am going to build the story or build the flow of this lecture so that I can walk through or run through this core message, and where I should stop, where I should pause, so that they can digest this core message completely. That's like, you have to spend 15-20 minutes at least, or maybe earlier if you're doing this for the first time, 1 hour to just understand, to draw it out, the flow. And in that every dot that you are going to plant in the head of in the mind of the person, in the students, you have to be very careful about how the flow happens. And it will be, and you will enjoy this process. You'll enjoy it. Try it. Remember, we are not competing. We are not competing with other teachers for their attention. We are competing with Instagram stories for their attention. And Instagram, we are if you are fighting with Instagram stories based on AI for their attention, we have to use the weapons that they are using. We cannot fight our old weapons of lecture delivery through bullet points. It may not work. What about Vikram? Yeah, they are also very good. Use all the stories, sir. They are all, the Indian knowledge system, I said, full of stories. So Vikramaditya, Betal Pachisi, Singhasam Battisi. Betal Pachisi is a part of Singhasam Battisi. Singhasam Battisi is itself a collection of 32 plus 24 stories. You get 56 stories straight away there. You can use it, sir. Between what is the difference between mere reading and knowledge? Sir, reading, we know this. Reading, you're going through the words. Understanding is going beyond the words. It's visualization. It's being able to see the system, or words are indicators. Words are not the thing. Words direct you towards that thing. So through the words, we can go there. So take the pause, understand what is lying between the lines, between the points. And if you are able to understand it, if you are able to visualize it over here, then there is a pattern which gets formed. If you are able to replicate that pattern in somebody else's mind, that becomes knowledge transfer. Give me a different perspective. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, Kavita ji. Okay, thank you, ma'am. Practice, practice, practice. बहुत बार ये story कही है, so yeah. Do, sir. Yes. Thank you. Sir, can you please suggest how storytelling can be applied to students of mathematics? Oh, yes, absolutely, Savita ji. Mathematics is a beautiful subject where you can practice storytelling. Beautiful subject. Derivatives, or all calculus, all elements, everything that can be practiced through. So, for example, let's say, uh, if we're talking about integration, for them to understand the difference between summation and integration, or discrete and continuous curves or values, quantities, you can tell them the difference. You can just help them understand through the story of stairs versus a ramp. So what is the difference between, so if somebody is climbing a stair, either he can be at step number 1 or step number 2. Can he exist between step number 1 and 2, or try being between step number 1 and 2? Can you do that? The answer is no. But if it is a ramp and you draw two lines, can you be between those two lines? Yes. Can you be on the two lines? The answer is yes. Can you be between two very thin lines? The answer is yes. There is a space which exists. So they understand the difference between a continuous curve and or rather a discrete curve and an analogous curve, or a continuous curve. Bring in the concept of how can you add the number of steps compared to a stair versus a ramp. And maybe I'm just, whatever is coming to my mind, okay, I'm sharing. You may be a better storyteller and understand your subjects, but for mathematics, yes, we can do that. And make a group of people and start using those concepts. The physical concept, mathematics is representing the physical world. So move from the numbers, the symbols, to the real physical world. And if you move to the real physical world, you will find stories. You will be able to make stories out of it. On present day storytelling process, especially in times of emerging digital platforms. Digital platform, yes, ma'am. You have a good digital. What has a digital platform given us are the channels and the tools to engage. Still, I feel personally, I am a believer that nothing can match the impact of a oral narration. Nothing. But still, you can use visual elements. If the students are finding it difficult, they can use visual element for storytelling. You can use images, videos, background music, all these elements can be used. But nothing, again, nothing can match the beauty of sitting and hearing a story straight from the mouth of a narrator without any other element. That's real, that's natural. Thank you everyone. Yes, thank you for them today. Please let us know if we can follow the art of storytelling for all. Yes, you can follow it for all the subjects, ma'am. All the subjects. Listen, stories are not stories are not knowledge. They are tools to transfer knowledge. Any type of knowledge. Start developing, start using it. Okay. Okay. If are there any steps? So during my workshop, I generally take this. So are there any steps to use it? Answer yes. First, what is the message? Theme. From the theme, build the character. See what so from the theme, sorry, first is the theme, decide what is the message. So I want to teach the difference between continuous curve and discrete curves. So this is a central message. For this, what is the setting? So once upon a time, or when I was going on a railway platform, is a setting. In the setting, have the plots, introduce the characters. So once upon a time on a railway platform, I was going through the stairs and there was a ramp next to me. What I saw is that on the step, I can be either at step number one or step number two. So hence, I have to climb or jump from one to two. But on the ramp, which was parallel to the staircase, there was a wheelchair, and the wheelchair need not have to be between or on point A or 2. It can be anywhere between 1 and 2. So the ramp was useful for the wheelchair which cannot take steps 1 to 2, which can climb through all the space on that ramp. So now you're creating a setting, you're building a plot. That made me trigger the difference between a continuous curve or, yeah. So yeah, so first the theme, the message, around that setting, plot, characters, reach a conflict if required, and then the climax of it. Thank you. Can the way of teaching or pedagogy related to transfer? Yes, yes, ma'am. Pedagogy is essential part of knowledge transfer. Essential part. We have to spend time as teachers. We have to spend time on it. Because it is not for just the sake of our student, but it will help us enrich our job experience, and give us a lot of fulfillment. How do you categorize and map to the yes, yeah, I do that. Koilji, very nice. So what I have done is I have a collection of around 80 to 100 stories based on what is the requirement, what is the theme, what is the message I want to convey. I pick one story which has most of the elements present. Then I modify it. Many a times I modify it. पंचतंत्र गिव्स मी दैट एबिलिटी. महाभारत रामायण के साथ मैं नहीं कर सकता, कोई भी रिलीजियस स्टोरी के साथ मैं नहीं कर सकता, बिकॉज देयर आर सेंटिमेंट्स इन्वॉल्व्ड, बट पंचतंत्र के साथ मैं कर सकता. So I take that and modify it, and then I try it to deliver it in manner which the core message gets sent, the core theme, the core knowledge gets shared across. Yes. Thank you. So I would like to introduce. Okay. Microbiology में भी कर सकते हो. Microbiology में see, Manjusha ma'am, microbiology has got so many characters. Every element inside the cell is a character in itself. You have seen the stories on Instagram which are viral to nowadays. मैं ginger हूँ रे, मैं parle जी हूँ रे, all those things. So you can bring those cell organelles alive. Lysosomes, mitochondria, vacuoles, what is that? Endoplasmic reticulum, or what the name? I forgot those names. You can bring them alive, and you can build characters out of them. Right. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I'm so happy to receive the messages. Thank you so much. Yeah. There's one more question. How can the narrative technique of Panchatantra? I think we have already shared this, sir. Maybe we can have a follow-up session sometimes, just for the questions and kind of interaction. I'll be happy to interact. Oh, economics, go for it, Rashna ji. Go for it. Economics, I use a lot of stories for economics. Every principle, every theory of economics, every law of economics can be explained through stories. Law of demand, law of law of supply, law of equilibrium, what is that? Marginal utility, diminishing marginal utility can be very well explained with the help of stories. What is an assessment procedure, ma'am? See, IKS, when I'm talking about IKS on this platform today, I'm not looking at it as a subject. I'm looking at it as system of knowledge transfer. Assessment, if you're talking about from that point of view, there are different ways to assess. Uh, Retention, memorization, reproduction, practical uses, application, all what we go to, even Bloom's taxonomy talks about, all of them are covered in IKS also. How do you conserve your energy? Sometimes that release of energy makes you feel lighter, Jolina ji. Sometimes it's not just conserving energy. Sometimes it helps if to dissipate that energy. Trust me, like good lecture, good storytelling dissipates all those energy that I don't need, and that makes me feel lighter. You must have experienced this as a teacher. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, Mr. Ji. Okay, I will stop here then. Okay, thank you so much. Shall be in touch. Sir, over to you. Sijin, sir.
Yeah. All of you have put a feedback link in the chat. Please make sure you fill up the feedback link, feedback form. It's actually a link to the LinkedIn, so you can comment out there regarding today's session. Tomorrow we will have a session by Dr. Suresh Nambudiri. We'll be taking on reclaim and recognition. Okay, so that will be the session topic for tomorrow. We will have the session sharp at, it will be starting sharp at 7 p.m. So we will all see you then. Thank you again.
Thank you, sir. There is a question here.
Yeah.
What are the negative or major disadvantages of storytelling in the classroom, sir? Famanji, it's a very important question. When we meet next time, or please connect with me on WhatsApp. It's a very important question. We should cover it next time we meet. So please keep that question in mind and give a thought to it. It's an important question for everyone. What are the disadvantages or limitations of using stories?
Thank you, Dr.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you,
sir. Namaste to everyone. Good night.
Thank you. Yeah. I think everybody has enjoyed it. We will see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. We will have again sessions tomorrow at 7. Thank you and have a pleasant evening.